everybody, welcome to another video. I know the title of this video is a bit strange, the doctor who saved me without knowing it, and it's actually the 1 year anniversary since that moment where I had a bit of a spiritual or emotional or whatever terminology you want to use. I use spiritual because I believe that we're all spiritual beings, and we were all created by Heavenly Father, and that's my belief system, but whatever terminology you want to use is fine. It doesn't really matter as far as this video goes. But anyway, there was a battle going on inside me, and one of the doctors that was trying to help me at the hospital at this point in my life thought he couldn't help me, but he actually helped me more than he ever knew, purely by accident or on purpose, depending on what you want to believe. But yeah, I kind of wanted to go into that story a bit today. And you know, I do these videos, and everything that I do really is because I really love other people. And I know at the moment our world is a bit strange and things are a bit hard on a lot of people, and I just kind of wanted to let you know that we all have battles that go on in our lives, and you know, we can either be overcomers or sometimes we need others to help us be overcomers. But yeah, anyway, just a bit of a inspiration, I guess, as far as like giving people hope that may not have any at the moment. And there are good people out there, I guess. And also, if this doctor watches my video by chance, I mean, I don't know this guy, I've only met him once when he basically saved my life. And you know, he probably won't believe in this stuff either because it's not taught in medical school. But that's okay. You know, he doesn't need to. And if he does watch this video, I hope, you know, he understands how grateful I am for what he did without even realizing what he was doing. So anyway, we'll get into the video. But yeah, it was actually sort of a bit ironic, if you like. I woke up this morning thinking about doing a video on this, and then I went onto Facebook and seen my memories, and it's actually been 12 months since that day. So I thought, well, how fitting to do a video today on the doctor that saved my life. So I'm actually going to go outside now and put my feet on the grass because I've been working all week nearly. I do body work or body healing, whichever terminology you want to use. I use a whole range of different massage and body work techniques. The main massage technique, or pressure points if you like. I don't really use the technique, but I do use the pressure points of shiatsu, or some acupuncture points thrown in there and stuff like that. Not that I've ever done acupuncture, but yeah, they're similar points. They, you know, shiatsu comes out of Japan, so you know, you get the idea. And then I use kinesiology. I haven't heard of that one. Kinesiology to help with people that have got like emotional stuff going on, emotional blockages and things like that, because that can actually make you quite sick. Our emotions control our bodies a lot, as far as, you know, they can manifest as illness, and especially if we're holding on to those things. And then I use reflexology, which is from the feet and the hands. There's points there that correlate with different areas of the body. And I did study hands-on healing when I first started doing massage, and that has actually helped me as far as understanding warming up pressure points and things like that. It can be as spiritual or as unspiritual as you like. I don't personally believe in the like witchy craft side of hands-on healing that can kind of come into it. That's not what I'm doing, sort of thing. I'm not discrediting people that do that either, because that's not for me to judge or whatever. It's just not me. But I do believe that our body heat, and you know, our body heat can warm up points, and that seems to make a huge difference. And also that we are sort of electronic, if you like, where run by electrolytes and things like that, and positive and negative charges and those sorts of things. You know, you've got your negative ions and your positive ions, and all those sorts of things affect us because we are sort of electrical, if you like, or energetic is a better word maybe. And so, you know, there's connection there when you're doing hands-on healing type work. So yeah, I used that as well, but not too much of the stuff that comes with that. I mean, you know, there's a lot of stuff that comes with the others too that I don't personally use because it either doesn't resonate with me, or I just haven't had to use it, or whatever. So I sort of personalized my work to do the best healing I can with a bit of sort of intuitive stuff going on and a bit of feel, you know. Yeah, so anyway, it's a bit complicated, but it really isn't. It's quite simple when you sort of get down to it. But yeah, there's a lot of sort of stuff that gets carried through it, even with shiatsu and stuff like that, that I don't particularly get into, and other people do, and that's great, and it works for them. And as long as they're doing a good service to people, then that's the main thing. You know, I actually started out as a new agey type person, and you know, it was a great learning experience and all of that sort of stuff. But I have changed on my path, but I don't judge those who are on a different path to me, because that's not my job. And you know, I love all people, so really I want to help other people because I've been through a lot. I've had a bit of a journey, as most of you would know, not just in this physical body with the disease that I have, but also spiritually and on a sort of, yeah, learning sort of level. Yeah, it's been a rough road, and things, you know, as we all do, things sort of get too much sometimes and stuff like that. And this story is really about that. So let's go out on the grass and I will tell you this story that I hope will bless your heart and maybe give you some hope and some strength to get through whatever it is that you're going through. And don't switch your light off like I did. And yeah, so and I will yeah, I don't know what I was going to say then. That just totally skipped out on me, that one, and wasn't have been true. But yeah, you know what I'm like. I go off on tangents and stuff all the time, so it's fine. And my dog is barking. Oh well, I will see you outside. My feet on the grass, which really just helps to sort of earth out a bit, ground out after doing some treatments and things like that. Just helps to ground me and make me nice and ready for the next lot of body work. So I've got an appointment this afternoon actually, so really important to self-care and look after yourselves, especially when you're looking after other people, because you know, things happen and all of that. So yeah, and I've got the lovely birds making noise in the background and the puppy dog's laying beside me in the sun, so it's a pretty peaceful time of the day really. But anyway, so my story, I actually had broken my pelvis just before Christmas 2 years ago now. And I'd fallen off a horse and I'd broken my pelvis really badly, as you've seen in some of my previous videos, the x-rays and things like that. It wasn't good, and I'd also broken some ribs and fractured my spine, which also wasn't good and actually hurt more than the really bad break in the pelvis. There was 2 breaks in the pelvis actually, but anyway, that's beside the point. And I was given 6 weeks to heal, to get better, as far as like start to knit. It didn't have to be 100%, but start to heal. And I was angry that I'd fallen off the horse and that I was in this predicament, and frustrated that I couldn't walk around and do the things I needed to do. I had gardens and stuff that needed attention. I had all sorts of things that I was thinking about that I could be doing instead of sitting in a wheelchair, either in hospital or when I went home. And I felt bad because, I had to be looked after and taken care of, and all of those sorts of thoughts are going through my head. But I thought, well, it's just temporary, so it's okay, and I just need to kind of embrace this experience. And then today, last year, I had a terrible migraine, to the point where I actually thought I was having a stroke. My left hand was numb, my left side of my face was drooped, and my tongue was numb as well, and I couldn't see. And that, I can't see anyway, but like I have a little bit of vision now, but I had none when I was going through that migraine, and my eyes just hurt. Even the one that can't see anything was painful. And I felt terrible. I felt really sick and horrible. And I literally was like, am I having a stroke or what? Because it was a really bad migraine. So I went to the hospital thinking, oh, well, at least I can get some fluids there and hopefully that will help. And I was laying in the hospital bed, and the doctor came over and he's like, look, we're going to send you for a CT scan because we don't know what's going on. We're a little bit worried about this neurological stuff. I had weakness down the left side as well. So they took me in an ambulance to where the CT scan is, because they thought I couldn't walk, which I wasn't walking at that point either, but I could transfer to a car, but that was fine. Anyway, I went in the ambulance to the x-ray place where they do the CT scans, and they did that and couldn't really find anything apart from a not normal brain, but we'll get to that in a minute. And then I came back and I laid there and had to wait. I wasn't allowed to eat or drink anything via mouth. They did give me some fluids through the drip, but I wasn't allowed to eat and drink anything, just in case I needed to be sent to Brisbane for brain surgery because they were really concerned about what was going on. And so I was laying there in hospital couldn't eat anything, wasn't allowed to drink, which was fine because I was being hydrated through the thing and I didn't want to eat anyway. And the doctor came in, and it was actually my mum was there with me at the time because she'd just come back from a trip around Australia. And she said to the doctor, look, what's the news on the pelvis as well? Because we were there for my head, but I'd been in that same hospital for the pelvis and things like that. So he went and had a look, and he came back and he said, look, the pelvis isn't healing and your brain's not normal, which I proceeded to really laugh at, because what else do you do when the doctor tells you your brain's not normal? And he said the only explanation for what's happened here today is you've had a migraine, but there's no evidence of the migraine, but there's also no evidence of stroke, so we don't really know what's going on. You'll need to go and see a neuro, and you'll need to go and see the specialist because I think you need an operation to pin the pelvis back together, which is something that I wanted to avoid because it's quite risky with my disease. They can make mistakes pretty easily because of the way that my bone structure is, and I've heard horror stories of things being, they've been trying to fix things in other people with my disease and they've ended up in wheelchairs for the rest of their lives, and that's just, I couldn't handle it. So anyway, he went away for a while to see other patients or whatever, and I just said, that's it, I've had enough. I can't do this anymore. I'm already suffering, for lack of a better word, with pains all the time from the disease. I can't work anymore because at the time my hands I had numb hands, they just weren't feeling anything, so I couldn't do body work or anything like that. I couldn't even read Braille or anything like that, so I couldn't really work. I was that exhausted and just went into that selfish point of thinking, nah, that's it. And there's a light that sits above your heart that's sort of like, I call it a light, but it's called different things. It's where your emotions sort of come from, or all those sorts of things. And I switched it off. So I'm going to call it a light because it's a lot easier for you to understand what I'm talking about. But it's basically the thing that kind of keeps us alive. It's the hope, it's the all that sort of stuff that it really does. Like if you turn that off, a lot of old people will do this. They'll just switch off, and that's why it's sort of called switch off, I guess. But they'll sort of switch off and they'll die pretty quickly of, you know, stroke or some unexpected thing maybe, or they're sick and they'll just die, you know, like that. So it's a really not a good thing when you sort of switch that off. I mean, I wasn't going to kill myself physically, as far as like, you know, I wasn't going to take a whole heap of tablets or hang myself or anything like that, but I kind of suicided without suiciding, if that makes sense. I was just like, no, that's it, switch off. And then if I had stayed switched off for maybe like a couple of weeks or something, then something probably would have happened and that would have been the end of me. So anyway, I switched this off. The doctor had gone. I was like, no, I've had enough. I can't do this anymore. The doctor had walked off. Mum and Brad was still there, I believe. And I'd just kind of gone, no, that's it. Anyway, I was lying there still, just completely like drained and over it all, and, you know, switched off completely. And, you know, I have I don't know if it's a dangerous thing or whatever, but I don't have a fear of dying that a lot of people have. So to me, it was a peaceful thing, but yet it was for the wrong reasons, I guess. And, you know, I was like, yep, that's it. Anyway, the doctor comes back because we asked him to do something. I can't remember what it was now, but anyway, he went and did that and seen other patients, and he came back about an hour later or so, and he seemed a bit upset. And I was like, oh, what's going on here? You know, because when people get upset, I feel like I want to fix them, you know. I feel that, like, I feel their pain almost. It's like, oh, I really want to help, like. And I was switched off. I'd given up, and I was sort of like, I don't have the energy to help you, what's wrong with you? Like, that sort of thought was going through my head. And he's sitting on my bed, and he actually took my hand in his, which is an unusual thing for a doctor to do, and I didn't mind. It wasn't like, you know, I'm not adverse to being, you know, touched at all in that kind of sense. And he had my hand in his hand, and there's a point that we actually know in reflexology, and reflexologists might be able to tell you this. Anyway, it's to do with like the connection to other people and the connection to the heart and those sorts of things, on an emotional and a physical level. And then grabbing my hand and squeezing it really gently. He didn't do it very hard, because you don't want to do it hard, because you kind of go beyond the nervous system then. It's the nervous system you want to work with. And he squeezed it really gently. And I had no choice then. It was like my light just got completely switched back on. It was like, no, you can't give up, you need to fight. And that was like, whoa, like I felt it happen. And I was like, wow, like I don't really know what to do now, because all this sort of energy it's like when you turn off a light in the dark and then you turn it back on again, and it sort of hurts your eyes because it's that strong, because it's been in the, you know, you've been in the dark and your eyes have adjusted to that. Well, I was sort of adjusting to the dark, and then he switched this light on, and it was that sort of feeling like, whoa, that was powerful sort of thing. And he was upset because he thought he couldn't help me. He said, you know, there's no evidence of the migraine or a stroke or anything. I don't know what's going on. The pelvis isn't healing. We don't know why. You know, you're probably going to have surgery, or maybe we're just going to wait a while, or I don't know what's going to happen. You know, he's quite upset about that. And the fact that he cared as well was another thing, I think, that really switched that back on, because he was a complete stranger, and I was a complete stranger to him, as far as I'm aware. And you know, he's a doctor, and me and doctors, we have an interesting relationship sometimes, because there's a lot of doctors I just don't trust, and it's not their fault, it's just, yeah, anyway, we won't go into that too much. I think you already know, but you know, if you're a doctor and you feel like you're being attacked, I'm not attacking you on a personal level at all. I love people, and I love people that choose to be doctors. I think that sometimes they just get a bit I don't know, boxy or something. And yeah, anyway. It's not that I don't trust you on a personal level, it's just I don't trust the industry, I guess. And so that was pretty powerful, because it was someone that I was sort of like, oh, what are you going to do to me? And it was a complete stranger, and here they are pressing on this pressure point, not knowing it, that's all to do with the heart and connecting hand to hand, which is a really big thing. Is, you know, if you're a believer of us being electronic, if you like, or energetic, it's a big thing to connect to another person, and you know, sometimes we take that for granted as well, that, you know, we are social beings. And you know, this whole coronavirus thing, which I'm not going to go into because I'll get booted off YouTube or something, but anyway, we won't go into that because there's a lot of emotions around that too, and I love people too much to upset them by going into my thoughts on what's going on in the world. But you know, I don't want to upset anyone or anything like that. That's not what I'm here for. So anyway, that was a big thing. And I came home and I said to Brad, I said, go and get me some comfrey. I said, I need the comfrey, I'm going to heal this. And he's like, okay. It was like a renewed strength in me, like, no. You know, I tried everything allopathic. I took the painkillers. I did everything I was supposed to do. I did my exercises, or sort of. I mean, the physio will probably tell you different, but, you know, yeah. Anyway, we won't go into that too much either. But I did everything I was supposed to do, really. And it wasn't working. So I was like, no, go and get the comfrey, and I'm going to get slaughtered if a medical person looks at this and goes, you took comfrey, what are you doing? It's all right, it's my body. I haven't told anyone else to do it, I don't think. But that's what I did. And my liver's fine and everything's fine. I didn't take 7 leaves a day. It's all good, don't stress. I didn't take fresh leaves, took dried leaves and made it into a tea. And this is just what I did. I'm not telling you to do it, because don't sue me. But anyway, this is what I did. I went and got some body work done on myself. There's a guy in Warwick who does it, who's really, really amazing. And anyone who's in Warwick that needs that kind of treatment, I recommend him. He was really good. Works on the nerve level, not the muscle level, because muscle level work is great, but not so much for me with the bone issue. I mean, some remedial massages are really good, and they're really like gentle and not so rough, but especially those ones like in the shopping centres and stuff. I don't want to say the Chinese ones because that sounds really racist, but they generally are. Those sorts of things are a bit unpredictable, so I wouldn't go there, because I know that there's risk of breaking bones and things like that in my case, not so much in other people's case. So I'm not discrediting anyone. Don't, you know, carry on, oh, you know, she doesn't like muscle work. It's not that I don't like muscle work, it's just I have to be really careful about who does it. And at the time I was very fragile, because I'm already broken. My body's trying to already heal these broken bones that are going on, and these fractures and things that are quite serious. You know, I had to really be careful about who treated me. And this body worker is amazing. And I went there, I had to go there once, and then 4 days later, and then I think it was 7 days later or something. And he did like a mixture of kinesiology. I think he did reflexology. I think he did Reiki as well, hands-on healing possibly. It's sort of hard to tell, because I was kind of really relaxed and not paying too much attention, because he likes us to be sort of in that meditative state. And that's not, you know, I'm not saying you have to meditate or anything like that. You know, it's just like a state where you're kind of awake, but you're not. You're aware of what's going on, but you're sort of in another space of mind, I guess. That's what I would call a meditative state. So you're aware of what's going on, but you're not sort of got any emotion towards it. You're sort of off with the fairies, if you like, daydreaming, that sort of thing. You know, I don't want to use terminology that are going to upset anyone or anything like that, because that's all it is. It's just terminology. And belief really doesn't make it work or not work. It's just how it is. You know, we all go into a meditative state at some point in our lives, whether you're religious or not, whether you believe in the sort of Buddhism type meditation, or whether you're more Christian based like I am, and you sort of believe in that meditative state as like fasting and praying and that sort of thing, it's a meditative state regardless of what the belief behind it is, and that's where I was at the time. So I don't really know what he was doing, because I was aware of what he was doing, aware of him touching me and doing things and moving things around and stuff, but it didn't sort of come into my memory, if you like I sort of remember bits and bobs, but I was in that state of just half asleep sort of thing, and daydreaming about some cool stuff and whatever. So it was a mixture of massage, a bit like what I do, because it's hard to find people that do similar to what I do, because I know that what I do works. I've seen it in some awesome lights as far as like working on animals and people, and I'm always amazed at the change that it has in people's lives and animals' lives as well. I do horses and dogs, and I did one rooster once. Anyway, so I got off track again, didn't I? So I went and got that done. I did the first day, and then the 4-day, and the 7-day, and that was great. And then I went to the PA hospital in Brisbane, because that's where the specialists are. They booked me in to do that, and I turned up, and they did an x-ray. So this was 2 weeks after this moment where I turned my light off and then it got switched back on, and that all happened within about an hour. Okay, so just to give you, just so you know, sort of thing. And I went and got this x-ray, and I was waiting around thinking, what's going to happen here? I was pretty confident that I was healing, but you always have a little bit of doubt. I always have a little bit of doubt sometimes when it comes to, did I do enough? I've been praying about it and all that sort of stuff. Anyway, the nurse came out and brought me into the room, and there was about 4 or 5 doctors in there, which I'm kind of used to, because they're interested in my case, because I am a rare, it's a rare disease, and they want to learn about it, and that's fine. There was about 5 doctors or so in there that were specialists of the bones. They were orthos. And there was a fairly, I don't know, he's probably middle-aged guy, ortho, and he's sitting on the bed, and I was sitting in my chair, and he said, "Oh, look, I'm not really sure why you're here." And I said, "What do you mean?" And he said, "Look, it's healing nicely. You've healed about 50% healed, and that's what we would expect at 8 weeks." And I'm like, "Really?" He goes, "Yeah, I don't understand." And I said, "Have you seen the x-rays beforehand?" And he, "Oh, not really. I was only really looking at the one in front of me," sort of thing. And I said, "Well, I didn't heal at all 2 weeks ago. I hadn't healed at all. There was no knitting, no nothing going on 2 weeks ago. They were saying I needed to do surgery." And he goes, "Oh, I wouldn't want to do surgery on you unless I really had to." I said, "Yeah, well, they were saying that you probably had to." And he said, "No, look, it's healed. I don't know why or how or whatever, but it's definitely healing. It's healed 50%, which is what we would expect. Actually, in most cases, we'd expect 30% less, less than 50%. But it has healed, right up to that big, because there's like a big opening at the top part of the pelvis where it was broken." And he said, it's healed right up to there. You can start walking on crutches, and I'll see you in 3 months, and we'll see how we're going there. I think it was 3 months or 2 months actually, I think it was. Anyway, whatever. So I went home pretty happy about this stuff, and I texted the guy that had done this healing, and I said, "Thank you for helping me. I can now start walking." And I would have loved to have texted the doctor and said thank you for helping me, but I didn't have any contact information. I still, don't have any contact information for this doctor, but he'll know who he is if he sees this. I was like, wow, I can't believe that I'm A, still here, and B, things are looking up, And I actually went and had another body work done. I think it was about a month after the first day, the 4 and the 7. I think it was about a month after that, and I just had this feeling that there was lots of stuff going to start happening, and I was like, oh, okay. And I just kind of, put that to the back of my mind. I thought, okay, well, what will be will be. And yeah, I was doing all right. I was healing. I was going to this guy every sort of so often, and I healed in that 3 months. I was 90% healed. They were just waiting for the last layer of calcification really to happen. And they discharged me saying, yep, that's fine. It's going to happen. It's not a problem. You're further along than we anticipated. You can go on about your life. And this was all done by tele appointments because of COVID and things like that. Anyway, I'm aware that I'm rambling a bit and this video is going to be really long, so I apologize. But anyway, so I'd healed, and I was at that point walking without crutches, walking unsteadily a little bit, but walking without crutches. A month later, I was running and cycling and doing all those things and had completely recovered. I now get no pain from this injury. I can pretty much do everything I did before. I get a little bit of pain from the ribs still and the back fracture, but they're going to take time. They're healed as far as the bones have healed, but just the nerves and everything like that's got to, just heal over. But besides that, I was, still not feeling 100%. And my mum was cleaning for this acupuncturist, and he said to her, would you like acupuncture appointments instead of, me paying you for cleaning, like a barter system? And she's like, well, I'm actually okay, but my daughter has been getting these migraines, because I was still getting the migraines at this stage, and, she's not well and she needs some sort of help. So I've been going to this acupuncturist for a while now, and he gave me my feeling back in my hands. So I actually went for a totally different reason and walked out with healing in my hands. That makes sense. Feeling in my hands, so I can go back to work. So I have been going back to work, and I've been feeling awesome. I've been seeing a couple of naturopaths and things like that to get things back under control, because the trauma of that fall sort of sent everything out of balance, and we had bushfires before that, so everything was out of balance as far as minerals and all of that sort of stuff. My emotional state was out of balance. I was angry a lot of the time, even though I didn't show it. I was inside, and then little things would just make me explode because I was already in that sort of tense state. Things like that were happening. So actually, Brad's massage lady, who does remedial massage on Brad, she knew this naturopath, and we went and seen her, and she was just amazing. She put me on these drops that have actually killed a virus that was sitting in my liver for who knows how long. Probably got it from hospital or who knows, but anyway, it was sitting there for some time causing some problems. She's evened out all of my nerve sort of stuff, which the acupuncturist was doing as well, but this is just sort of added to that and really pushed, and I feel like I'm 20 again, so look out, world. And I've gone back to work because I've got the energy to do that, which I didn't have before. Even before I fell off that horse, I didn't have that energy to go back to work, and I didn't have the feeling in my hands either. So I've sort of moved away a bit from horses now. I have decided that riding is probably a bit too dangerous for me, other than going on like trail rides and stuff where the horses are really old and done it 10,000 times, and there's really low risk of falling and those sorts of things. But apart from that, I don't have any horses that I can ride now. They're all minis, and I intend to keep it that way. And I've sort of moved away from horses a bit, and it was a little bit like, oh, what am I going to do now for a bit? Because I didn't have the feeling in my hands. But now I sort of feel like I'm really being led to really help people now, which I've always done. I had Callisto Park, and that was created to help people. And then I had, all sorts of different things that were really assisting other people, because other people assist me. So I'm sort of just completing that cycle of life, really. And I love doing it. I love to see people go from, unhealthy, or not so much unhealthy, because that sounds like I'm blaming them, but that's sort of got that behind it. But go from, not feeling good to feeling really good, and getting rid of their pain and getting rid of their suffering and things like that. Like I really love doing that, because someone did it for me without even realizing that that's what they were doing. So thank you to that doctor. I won't put your name on here because you might not like that, but yeah, if you do see this and you get the message, that's awesome, because you're an awesome doctor, and I hope that you continue to really be empathetic with your patients. I know it takes a lot of energy. I know as a massage therapist we take on a lot, but yeah, ground yourself out, go and walk on the grass barefoot, do things that make you happy, and continue to care for your patients, because you actually saved my life without realizing it. So that was the message of this video today. So thank you so much for that. I'm still here, and I'm so thankful now, and I've grown closer to God because of this experience, and learning more about Yeshua and Yahweh, and it's really been an amazing journey. So thank you, because without you I would have just continued to give up and killed myself eventually, either by stroke, which is probably the most probable thing that would have happened, or heart attack, or anything like that. People can literally die of a broken heart and things like that, so kidney failures and things. So thank you for everything that you did. Thank you for caring, and for just instinctively grabbing my hand and squeezing that point, even if you didn't realize that point actually did something that you may not have even realized. So thanks for doing that, and please continue to do that. And if our paths ever cross in the future, I will thank you in person. But if they don't, that's okay, because I sort of have that thankfulness now in my heart, and I will pass that on, and that empathy in my heart too, and I will pass that on to all of my patients as a body work or a massage therapist. And also as a naturopath in the future. I'm studying naturopathy at the moment, and as a life coach counsellor, which I was originally before I started CPEC. All those things, I do intend to bring together and make something amazing for healing people, and not just me doing it. I want to create jobs and create learning and create all these things for other people. And yeah, I really feel like I'm being moved through the Lord to do these things. And he's got the osteopetrosis. I don't have to worry about that. He's got it. He knows all about it. And he's taken my suffering. He's given me the people I needed to relieve me of my pains and my troubles. And now I feel like I'm being called to do his work and to work for him, regardless of what the other people who I'm working with's beliefs are. That doesn't come into it, as far as, it's not going to work if you're not a believer. It will still work. And Yeshua really loves his people and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, that's my video for today, and I really hope that it blesses your heart. And if this doctor or the acupuncturist or the body therapist that helped me through my journey are watching, thank you very much. Please continue your work. I know it's hard sometimes, and I feel it. I know that sometimes you feel like you've taken on the world, and your shoulders get sore, and you get pains and stuff that on a physical level, because you're dealing with so many different people that have got so many different issues, and sometimes you feel helpless, but you're not helpless. So just remember that, and keep doing what you're doing. And yeah, that's basically it. So thanks so much for everyone who listened to this message, and I'm feeling really earthed out now, really relaxed and ready now to go to my next clients and do the things that I need to do for the day. It's actually my rest day tomorrow, so I'm very, very grateful for that. I will be in that meditative state, praying and all those sorts of things, and worshipping the Lord and singing music and all those sorts of things tomorrow. And that will really help to energize me and fill me with the Spirit, I suppose, to continue to do things for other people. So yeah, make sure if you are working with people that you are taking that time to do the things you need to do, whether it be the same as me or whether it be different, it doesn't matter, but you really need to take at least a day a week to have that rest. and to recharge and, you know, do those things, because the saying is true that if you don't look after yourself, well, you can't look after others. So yeah, just that's my message for today. So much love, and I hope you've enjoyed this message.